Yo, what up? What up? It's Brandon Carter here in NXT. The homie Fat. Back, man. Pro bodybuilder and a trainer of pro bodybuilders. He does their whole regimen. You do the whole regimen. You do their meal plans, all that.
Nutrition, supplements, put the workouts together for them and do everything.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Creatine, obviously. Creatine. How much creatine do you recommend your athletes take a day?
I have my bikini girl taking creatine, man.
How much? Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I don't. The whole myth about creatine and holding water is bull.
Kat, do you take creatine?
I actually don't.
You don't.
I don't need it.
You don't need it.
I got enough muscle.
How much creatine would you recommend? Like just a guy who's trying to build some muscle.
Anywhere between 20 and 30 grams.
20 grams a day?
Yeah.
Jesus, man.
Oh, you remember, man? I mean, you know, these are creatine is also an amino acid. So while you're eating the red meat, your any type of protein you have, you don't have that much creatine. So your body's already used to taking having like 8 to 10 grams of creatine per day, probably a little bit less than from regular food. As an athlete, you need the extra nutrition.
I am an athlete.
You know? Yeah, exactly.
You know what? I read that. I remember like when I was in the '90s, my role model was the dude Bill Phillips.
Yeah.
And this book Body for Life, right? And that was aimed at like regular folks.
Yep.
You know? He said, I'll never forget this. He said take 20 grams of creatine a day. And I was like, yo, man, Bill's trying to fucking kill me.
No.
But like, yo, you think 20?
Yeah, 20 to 30, man. I mean, I'll take
20 to 30?
Yeah.
I ain't never heard about nobody taking 30 grams.
Because like you said, he said, dude, he's the one who bought creatine into the market.
Yeah, EAS. It was his company.
Yes, it was him.
But that might have maybe was a conflict of interest. Oh, the guy who invented creatine says take 20 grams a day, huh? Yeah, okay, Bill.
Okay,
Bill.
You're right, though. I mean, you need at least a minimum. You need 20 grams.
A minimum.
Minimum.
So me taking 5 grams is not enough. You have all your athletes do it.
I have most of my athletes doing it. I mean, I have bikini girls that stand creatine all the way until like the last week of the show.
Yeah, it doesn't make you behold.
Nah, man, that whole myth comes from a specific company that created a creatine product with a lot of sugars in there. So it was basically like Kool-Aid added to creatine. Yeah, and that was what was making them fat. What was making them fat was making them fat was the actual sugars from the actual sugars from the product was decreasing the insulin levels. Okay. So because the insulin levels were going up, it was retaining all the fat from the food and everything else, and that was making it fat. But creatine itself.
What about your kidneys, man? Does it hurt your kidneys or that? I mean, this stuff I've heard, Fat. I've heard this, and this is what my subscribers are gonna type in the comments, Fat. It's gonna hurt your kidneys.
Creatine.
Your livers, yeah.
Yeah. If you find me one study that says that, I'll give you my stories.
You give me both stories?
I'll give you both stories. One study that says that.
Hey man, I know. Like honestly,
there's so many.
That's just what people tell me, man. That's what I've heard throughout the years.
You know what some lady told me yesterday?
What did she say?
She was like, "How old did you start training?" I was like, "I was 18." She was like, "Well, you started training too early. That's why you're short." So
I hate that.
If I'm short, what everybody walking around? They started training when they were 5.
I hate that. I started training when I was 16.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
I'm tall. I'm taller now.
Yeah, but there's a lot. When it comes to sports supplements, there's a lot of myths. You know what the main thing is? If you look at the athletes 30 years ago to the athletes today, you can see the difference in how they're built, how stronger, faster, and better they are. And the reason why they are is because the whole sports nutrition, more science is put in there, more developments, more products is put in there, and everything else. That's a specific.
30 grams a day.
20 to 30.
I'm telling you, man. I'm gonna be honest with you, Fact. I'm apprehensive about that, but I'm interested. I'm interested.
At least 20 and sometimes 30.
How much protein do you think someone needs a day?
I take 2 grams. Well,
I take 2 grams per body. That's what I tell people. 2 grams per body.
But then people are gonna tell you that's too much protein.
Too much protein. Too much protein, huh?
But I say 2 grams. If you're trying to gain muscle, 2 grams.
2 grams, right? Yeah, man. Why is everybody so afraid of protein?
I just think people are uneducated. People are just uneducated with products, you know.
People don't know shit, man. People are morons, Fact. That's one thing I learned.
Not everybody. not everybody. Sometimes you have to educate people. That's what
you gotta educate them, man. All right, 20 to 30 grams of creatine. Let's do it. That's the 20 grams. That's a new challenge. 20, 30 grams of creatine at the end of the year.
Only if you're working out and only if you're real serious about everything. My